You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and I need to talk to you about something that I use religiously. Anytime I'm hosting a big dinner party, I want to impress people, and I get food from some of the most iconic, famous places in the country. You know what helps me do that? Goldbelly. This amazing site where I order from all the time, where you can get all these amazing foods from all across our great country. They will ship free to your door, anywhere in the US of A. Goldbelly will ship you Philly cheesesteaks from Jim's or Pat's in Philly. I'm treating my office right now to a cheesesteak party from Pat's, courtesy of Goldbelly. And on top of that, I threw in some original buffalo wings from Anchor Bar in Buffalo. You could get Kansas City's most legendary barbecue from Goldbelly. And if the pizza near you sucks, they will ship you New York style pizza from John's on Bleecker or Chicago deep dish pizza from Lou Malnati's. I do that all the time, or even New Haven or Detroit style pizza. If you are truly gluttonous though, they will ship you Guy Fieri's famous trash can nachos, which I kid you not are the ultimate game day centerpiece. So if you're looking to host an epic Super Bowl party, or any party for that matter, go to goldbelly.com and get free shipping and 20% off your first order with promo code DAN. That's goldbelly.com, code DAN, for free shipping and 20% off your first order.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
So Dan versus Dan was last night? Or Dan
I've been
Dan?
seeing photos.
Asks.
The last Dans, I've been calling it. Whoever wins, we lose, I think, is what
That's
the
the
Alien
tagline?
vs. Predator movie poster used to say. Also applies here, potentially.
It went great. Why are you...
Did it?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
It was... I was getting reports the whole night.
Oh,
from people
From
on the
Dan?
ground.
Oh.
There are
No,
lots.
how can I tell you he was
There
on the
are
stage?
photos of the crowds, the crowd size, guys. Very big.
That's Dan and Dan.
There it is. Dan's melting into the chair with
The
that
only
brown
negative
jacket.
is that we had people in place, and I think that all of you will appreciate this more than I did. Dan showed up pretty much just to get on stage.
Dan
there-
Patrick or Dan
Le
Batard?
There was no green room situation. There was no prep. There was no anything.
No mingle?
No nothing. Now, after the show, he did major meet and greets, major
Oh,
VIP
okay.
stuff.
All right. There you
No.
go.
But when you're on tour for a show, he did a full, even Springsteen, Mick Jagger. You're getting there early. You're sort of getting set up. Dan went car, stage.
That photo is just hilarious. I can't tell where the chair ends and Dan starts.
It's just his head popping out of a chair.
I was just trying to think if that's the outfit he wore to do the show on Tuesday that he recycled again for Wednesday. But it actually went great. It was sold out. There were a ton of people who got to spend time with Dan after the show, which was
Dan.
Dan.
Our Dan loves taking photos with the people.
Well, the people love to be with him.
Not really. He doesn't love it. It's just a way to get out of whatever situation he's in. Come take a photo. Okay, now leave.
Yeah, he doesn't have to talk that way.
Oh, I think
He would rather have
actually loves being with people.
1,000 small talk conversations than one conversation.
He feels the gratification from the fans, and
no, it's legitimate. Like Moss every year, he does this.
Well, he's listen to the thing. Dan is genuinely appreciative of the love and support. But also, Dan is the anti-Amin. Amin will go and give someone 15 minutes of show if it behooves him, right? Dan is like, I don't want to do any show. That's why the photo is such a great opportunity. It's, I gave you the most meaningful interaction possible that also costs me nothing.
Dan will do show with them, but it'll be South Beach sessions, and he'll be like, when have you cried last? Are you in a happy place when you listen? He really wants to get in there.
Do we know what they talked about?
I just know that...
I like how the one thing we need reporting on is our own
companies.
Which we don't have clips on for some
We
reason.
I could tell you what Kevin Durant is thinking this whole time, but I can't tell you what happened.
You're allowed to talk about that?
Yeah,
David was mad that we hadn't said the word Super Bowl.
No, Pete Alonso is actually what he was mad about.
Well, I was upset about both because it's Thursday, and I was picturing Adam Silver doing the Snoopy dance because Roger Goodell is on the back burner. There's shows, and we're sort of looking. It's been 40 minutes or 84 minutes, and there are other shows just getting to Super Bowl now, having started with Jimmy and the Warriors.
I'm just going to read the Chiron on First Take. What will the Super Bowl come down to?
This is my favorite thing because I saw someone tweeted at us either yesterday or early this morning saying, please don't spend the show talking about Jimmy Butler and the Lakers trades and all that stuff. It's Super Bowl week. And I said, the operative part of the word news is new. What's new, Super Bowl? If you tell me right now something we didn't know about the Eagles or the Chiefs that we've learned in the last 24 to 48 hours, I'm pleased to have that conversation. If it's just
The
who's
Chiefs
going to
have
win.
no injuries.
That's new?
Yes. There's no one on the report.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing.
So that's
no
what
one on the
that's what it's
report.
coming down to.
That's big news.
All right. Okay, they're not hurt.
What I would like to
And we covered it.
what I would like to tell the NFL in this moment is you gotta earn it. Earn it.
Gotta wanna earn.
Out-compete.
Eugene Robinson, go out there, get arrested doing
League
something.
don't want to earn.
I'm just saying, I'm happy to not talk about the Heat, trust me, but the NFL, I'm so far, Dan looking like a couch is the number one story coming out of New Orleans.
I mean, it's a pretty good story. Look at that. Look at that picture.
It's like that Always Sunny where, Danny DeVito's climbing out.
He's all greased up.
If he had gotten there earlier, we would have changed out the chair or his pants.
Can we do that?
Oh, you can do anything with time.
Or money?
Well, always.
I have a couple of questions. What decade do you have to be from to know what the Snoopy dance is?
Ooh, 20
Also,
CD.
Pablo, why do you think that people think you're a food delivery person?
Do you not see how he dresses like a schlep?
Oh, that's why. That's how he
That's
dresses.
why. Okay.
Members only windbreaker. He's got
That's schleppy?
the onset of a potential paunch for someone of his young age.
I do have
His hair is
I do-
always
What's a
messed
punch?
up.
What's a punch?
I do have
I
early
understand
onset
euphemisms.
paunch.
He's very.
Punch was a cop on this television show
Too
called
real.
Chips.
That's not true.
Oh, it's Eric Estrada.
So he's growing an Eric Estrada.
Yes. But it's all but it passes as Italian for some reason. We're doing a show for Greg Cody only, right?
And he always walks around with bags. So Pablo's like got stuff, and it's not organized. It's not like a briefcase. And you walk around
I'm
with
busy
food.
finding out stuff. Sorry.
Well, he walks around the city and he's sort of collecting food in bags. And then I picture him walking into a lobby and being stopped like you're heading into Tiffany with the trophy. Like people looking, you're like, what apartment's that for?
I picture you walking into Tiffany's and them thinking, where's the tall one from the Wet Bandits?
Daniel Stern.
Well, they're looking for Daniel Stern because,
Right.
yeah.
More of
You
a
just
Joe Pesci
referred
guy
to the
than
Home
Daniel.
Yeah, I am.
Alone robbers by their gang name.
The Wet Bandits.
Is that how Daniel Stern is known?
Number one? Yes. Home Alone by far.
Yes.
More so than City Slickers?
Not bushwhacked.
Or Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the year for me, man.
I'm just
Yeah,
glad we got
I'm
Roy in here. Roy got lured out with
Hot ice.
Celtic Pride.
Heat up the ice cubes.
That's
It's the best of both worlds.
You know what? It might be Rookie of the Year.
It's Home Alone.
I know
Are you?
it-
You
Hold
guys
on.
are.
It's a
high.
better role though.
It's-
that Rookie of the
Home
Year role
Alone.
is fantastic.
This is like what's Arnold Schwarzenegger known for, and you guys are like Jingle All the Way. No.
Good flick.
What? But remember when he gets
Kindergarten
stuck
cop,
between
clearly.
the doors, knocking on the doors of the hotel room, and
Little
the
help
both
here.
doors closed.
Help
Help
now.
now!
Help now.
Help me now. Little help now.
A
here.
paint can hit him in the face, and then he stepped on a nail with no shoe
Oh,
on.
wait, hold
died
on.
in that
Amin got some Obama in his paint can, hit him in the face just then.
A paint can hit him in the face.
Now that's SNL worthy.
You just learned that I do a really good
No,
Obama.
but I hadn't heard it in person before.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get to Stephen A. Being a Democratic candidate for president as Barack Obama has learned the news?
Got a couple presidents in here too, if you need them.
Let me be clear. When I heard the news that Stephen A. Smith decided he should run for office, I said that's a great American. Now, some folks across the aisle don't like that. They want Skip Bayless to be the nominee. But I told my family, Sasha, Michelle, Malia, that
Gets me every time.
Stephen A. Would make a fine candidate. Now, Stephen A. Wait, hold on. Here, Joe, wouldn't you agree with me?
Listen, man, he's a good guy. He's got it. He's got real pizzazz. I like him.
Now, Joe, Stephen A.
Is he from
It's
Scranton?
the hands every time,
Is
right?
he from Scranton?
It's the hands and the losing breath as soon as he starts talking.
What does old Donald Trump believe about Stephen A?
Who does a good Trump here? I don't. I've tried, and I realized I can't do a good
He
Trump.
talks sports, all right? He talks a little bit, and he doesn't do it well, okay? He talks way too much, if you ask me.
Okay.
It's not terrible either.
I mean,
It's the only option we got.
This is
not terrible.
this
It's a
Hall
real
of Fame week.
binary equation you're giving approval to.
No, we didn't do the lips part. You got to do the lips. You have to have the filler.
And the fingers. A lot of
fingers.
You know who does a really good Trump? Brad Williams. Brad Williams is a really good Trump because he does the hand movements really well. I heard a lot of people do good Trumps. Godfrey does a good Trump.
There's a lot of Trump.
Our buddy Josh Rosen obviously does a great Trump. He actually makes money. Has a Trump impersonator.
How much money does he make?
Enough to pay his bills. Yeah,
You know this. You've seen the W-2.
I've seen Josh Rosen and I've seen him play
You
places.
think he gets a W-2 for that?
$10.99 probably.
Yeah, it's not. He's not. He's not getting benefits on this shit.
And Brad Williams and Donald Trump, same size hands.
It's true.
Nice.
But,
Well done, Roy.
But guys, you guys aren't talking about the real president. We're talking about 2028, baby.
2% Stephen A. is polling in this.
What's the plus or minus? What's that? What's the margin of I'm blanking. Someone please help me.
Margin of error.
Margin of error. What's the margin of error on that poll?
2.
Please tell me it's more than 2%.
It's unclear to me.
So then
I'll
it
give you
could
some
be
of the
negative?
details. It's a McLaughlin and Associates poll, and oh God, Kamala Harris is still leading the pack, 33%. Pete Buttigieg, 9%. Gavin Newsom, 7%. Stephen A. Smith, 2%.
I've often said that if the fires happened on my watch, they would have been put out immediately, because the fires don't want to make an enemy out of me.
Do we really see him as a Democrat? Because he said that he was an independent years ago.
We heard that from
You certainly can't come out as a Republican running for 28 at the moment, because the thought is that there's going to be a third term in there.
Right.
So
Is that now? Are we talking? Is that where we're at?
It's not where I'm at, but that's been
defying the Constitution. Yeah.
Classic.
Oh,
Classic.
please. We're not in the last 4 years.
Definitely didn't try to warn you guys.
Stephen A. Smith, I just want to tell you, picturing him at a debate, a presidential debate, thinking that he's doing one of his shows on ESPN.
David,
That's all it is now.
That's what State of the Union.
That's what Trump did at the debates.
Yeah.
Just like turned it into a.
That's all it is. That's a reality
can't.
show.
you want to talk to me about taxes? Come on. Let me tell you something about taxes.
I'll trade him.
And then never actually say anything about taxes.
No, because all he's got to do is just name out the resume of taxes. Now, we've had taxes since Eisenhower. He had them at 90%. We dropped them, and they've been very, very beneficial. Roads, schools.
He'd be almost the richest president.
Almost the richest president?
Yeah.
Almost.
For real. I mean, he's about to sign and become the highest paid employee at ESPN. He'd have more
He's
money.
not already?
In theory, than even Trump himself.
Maybe I'll take his spot at ESPN.
Oh, my God. That's
First
Joe
signed with CAA.
He did just sign with a major Hollywood talent agency.
Yes, he did. They did a whole announcement about it.
So
The Speaker Series. Now, you can make a lot of money. Of
course.
There's a lot of 1099 Obama.
Yep.
Ooh, cashing in.
Bill?
On the
Bill was cleaning up on that circuit.
You make appearances when you've been president.
Some
you
people
can rock
write.
it.
Some people, I'm reliably informed, write books to go on the speaker circuit.
Of course.
Like that's the actual game.
Did
Have
not
you
write
met
that book.
Stugotz?
You mean he's gonna go on a liar circuit?
No, he's just going to cancel. He's going to make appearances and then cancel.
By the way, I got a report from New Orleans here. Everyone
Whoa.
Super Bowl week talk.
Yeah. Let me straighten up in my chair.
Does anybody do a George W. or George H. Bush impression?
You work on that while I give you this update from New Orleans. Stu was looking for another Stu to do a competing Stu versus Stu show. He put out an ask for Stu Feiner.
Oh my God.
There it is, our New Orleans update.
Is that news?
It is.
Is that Super Bowl news because it's new?
Well, it's new and it came from New Orleans.
And who's the source of that?
I can't reveal my source.
Can we talk a bit about the thing that we saw at the White House yesterday?
I didn't see anything at the White House.
I want to show you, actually. I want to show you a clip that caught my eye. If we can play something that Chris Cody is very cleverly, there it is, very good, and play.
And Tommy Tuberville, a great coach. You know, his quarterback was named Mahomes. He was a great college coach. And I said, how good was he? He said, you don't want to know how good. He made me into a great coach. He's pretty good quarterback, right? Yeah, he was very good. He's a good guy, too.
I just want to be very clear about this. This is not a political take. Donald Trump does not know ball. Donald Trump does not know sports. He is around sports. He has spent money on sports. He shakes hands with people who play sports. He has no idea what anything is.
Do you believe that someone writes that speech?
No, that's him. That's him winging it. They do write speeches for him. He wings it, though.
That is him looking at Senator Tommy Tuberville and saying, you're the guy who coached Patrick Mahomes famously. We all know that.
How come no one in the background noticed that it was wrong?
No one sets up a sound after we've listened to it better than Pablo.
Hold on. Let me just point something out. You said
and play.
Nobody corrected him. How about Tommy Tuberville didn't correct him? He said he's a pretty good quarterback. He said, very good. Tommy Tuberville went with it. Yeah, I coached him in 2012 when I was at
correct the
Texas
president in that
This is why I bring it up. This is what's happening. Again, I'm not trying to do a political argument here. I am just saying this is happening in 1 million different ways across all sorts of stories that are not actually anything this dude cares about.
There are way more important things we could be talking about, but there's plenty of other presidents when they welcome teams to the White House. There's speeches that are prepared, and when they try to go off script, George Bush did that and made a mistake. You're not going to correct him on the.
What did he say?
You're not. He said something about a game that he said that he had watched of our World Series, and he hadn't watched it.
You didn't. You didn't correct him?
What? Are you kidding me?
I would have.
You're with the president.
I would have sworn
in the White House.
I would have sworn that you would have
interrupt.
Yes,
interrupt the remarks while presenting.
It was Brad Penny that started, not Al Leiter.
I could absolutely hear Samson's voice from the background. He's standing behind.
I respect the office. I wish people in the office respected the office, but I respect the office.
Would you have corrected him after he was done speaking?
I may have.
There you go. I appreciate the kind words, Mr. President, but, right? You did that?
Now, that's funny. I didn't call him Mr. President.
Wait, how did you address him?
President Bush.
You said
should I have said
Mr. President? Yeah.
It's interesting. I did not do that. I did not do that.
But you did correct.
I wish you hadn't just done that.
We talked after. Well,
yeah, you made all the Marlins employees call you Mr. President.
No, David. You'd know that if you had worked for the Marlins.
Yep. You would also wear a tie.
Just David.
For at least a couple of months.
Only until June. Only until the first sign that, oh my God, is it hot in this frickin' town.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Mattel, Heinz, or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the business behind the business, making and selling, and for shoppers, buying. Simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. No one does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Heinz uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Batard, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Batard to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Batard.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and I need to talk to you about something that I use religiously. Anytime I'm hosting a big dinner party, I want to impress people, and I get food from some of the most iconic, famous places in the country. You know what helps me do that? Goldbelly. This amazing site where I order from all the time, where you can get all these amazing foods from all across our great country. They will ship free to your door, anywhere in the US of A. Goldbelly will ship you Philly cheesesteaks from Jim's or Pat's in Philly. I'm treating my office right now to a cheesesteak party from Pat's, courtesy of Goldbelly. And on top of that, I threw in some original buffalo wings from Anchor Bar in Buffalo. You could get Kansas City's most legendary barbecue from Goldbelly. And if the pizza near you sucks, they will ship you New York style pizza from John's on Bleecker or Chicago deep dish pizza from Lou Malnati's. I do that all the time, or even New Haven or Detroit style pizza. If you are truly gluttonous, though, they will ship you Guy Fieri's famous trash can nachos, which I kid you not are the ultimate game day centerpiece. So if you're looking to host an epic Super Bowl party, or any party for that matter, go to goldbelly.com and get free shipping and 20% off your first order with promo code DAN. That's goldbelly.com, code DAN, for free shipping and 20% off your first order.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account. A friend paying you back. Or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card. Or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Dan Le Batard.
No one else here is willing to do a Trump or a Biden.
That's not true, Dan.
Okay, Tony, you can catch
Man
up.
of 1,000 impersonations.
That's not bad, man.
Finally.
Not terrible. Pretty good.
Stugotz.
Yours is terrible.
You just got to get a little redder, a little pinker. You're right there, man.
Yours is not. You're Biden.
What do you mean?
Oh, his is good.
That's
Dan.
actually not
His
bad.
Is good.
Not terrible.
That's not terrible.
We got to come together.
A little Southern
Little
twang
Bush.
there. A little George Bush in that one.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I'm down on Trump and what he's doing with the transgender and all the executive orders. But I just want to point out that what he did with
Tuberville.
Tupper. You said Tupper.
Tupper?
You'll get it.
Like Tupperware.
Keep saying it. You'll find it.
I'm having a hard time enunciating it, except to say that I give him a pass on that.
I do not in the least.
I know, but I don't want him to know that. I'd prefer my president not to actually.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Spend time on that type of stuff.
Sure. In any other timeline, the idea that a president tried to make a sports reference and face planted would be otherwise not symptomatic of a larger trend.
Agreed.
A troubling trend insofar as the background of that video, which, to Chris's point, I did not do a great job of setting up. He's surrounded by girls, young women, for what the C-SPAN Chiron describes as the No Men and Women's Sports Executive Order. Speaking of telling people to play and to not. It's a ridiculous thing.
Wordplay.
It's a ridiculous thing. And I say that because, look, I'm at all times with what David referred to as the transgender. I'm trying to be somebody who you want to hear from, even if you think I'm going to be the guy who is in the tank for one side. I'm not in the tank for one side. I am just here to remind people that when you say this is a deeply unpopular issue, 80-20 a winner for the GOP, 80-20 a winner for the mutated Republican Party, which is true. Just please stop pretending like Democrats had been shoving this down people's throats. Nope. The idea that everybody on the left was so pro-transgender that finally Donald Trump is going to stand up to the big bully. It's just not what was happening.
But we're not saying pro or anti-transgender. What the executive order was about participation in sports.
Yes, and the good news is that there have been rules regulating participation in sports on the basis of hormones, testosterone, which is, look, an arguable debate. Sure, we've done episodes about it, but they've existed. There have been regulations the entire time. There are fewer than 10 college athletes who are trans at all, meaning that we're debating issuing executive orders, fear-mongering about less than 0.02% of the population, while also casting that population as the bully.
The most effective straw man of all time.
It's an 80-20, Izzy. 80-20, it's a winner. And I'm not disputing that. It is a winner for the Republican Party. What I'm saying is that this is something that I can't abide by because of a misrepresentation of the reality of it, right? I'm not saying that it's not unpopular. I'm saying that we here who have cared about this issue saying, actually, let's consider this population of people. let's consider that if they were to go through with these regulations, these hormone therapies to decrease their competitive advantage conferred by male puberty, if they were to do all of that, that they deserve a right to play. What I'm saying is that people who have been saying that and believing that, like me, have not been platformed to the point where everybody is saying, let's celebrate the trans athlete. It's been a relatively lonely journey for those people in particular. And so for those fewer than 10 people who are just trying to participate in sports, them being cast as Goliath, as the bully, as the big bad wolf by the president surrounded by these women as props, it's insane to me.
So
it's just insane to me.
Is this a Title IX issue? Is this something that can be appealed in the courts?
Roy, there are so many legal pathways shooting out of this, Title IX being one of them. And I guess I even hesitate to go to that point because I want to make the argument even more basic. The boogeyman you have created is not an actual concern. And it's just the most overblown political issue of our time.
It was a platform issue that was used by Trump, and it gets people riled up, and he was able to take care of it. And then he was able to say that I'm doing what I said I would do, which, by the way, is a whole nother subject. All the things he's doing, he said he was going to do.
Yes,
including
on this.
This is what he campaigned on, and 70 million people voted for him? And he's doing exactly what they want. And this executive order on transgender participation in sports was one of them. And he's going down the line. This was just a press conference. That was one of 10 that he had.
All he's been doing while Elon Musk has been doing the actual, work of being president has been holding press conferences and signing executive orders, which in reality are pieces of paper that just say, here's a take I have.
Yeah, that's my favorite part, is that this is his favorite part of the presidency, is feeling like he's doing something by signing pieces of paper that say...
I think you're underselling an executive order. Now, it is true that you cannot unilaterally implement certain things in some of the executive orders, but all presidents on both sides of the aisle use executive orders as swords.
There are consequences to them. I am just saying this is the theater of... This is first take. This is Stephen A. actually being very qualified for this part.
Oy.
I could sign an executive order now.
What about me?
Yeah, but a majority of them either really have to go through Congress or are wholly unconstitutional.
There's a reason why he's not going through Congress. One of them is because it takes actual work of governance. Another reason is which he does not have a huge majority in Congress. He has a very narrow, the thing that I am frustrated by is just the way in which we have lost any sense of proportion, right? The smallest population of helpless people who are contemplating suicide at a rate of 1 in 3 are the big bad wolf. That's who you should worry about, those people. Meanwhile, the victory that Trump won, again, it's crowd sizes, right? The whole premise of this is he won so overwhelmingly that this is what the people wanted. He's just doing what they wanted. Look at how much he won by. We are misrepresenting basic statistics all of the time. And it's infuriating to be purely just on a counting level. We're really just going to eat all these lies.
Yes, for 4 more years.
And more.
Maybe more after that. But
wholly unconstitutional.
Now, but when you pack the Supreme Court, you assign the way he has, then you feel a little more emboldened with that branch of government. When you've got the tiebreaker, which he has with J.D. Vance, in case there's a few Republicans who fall astray, which happened recently with one of the appointments, you feel emboldened as the president that you can use the 3 branches of government. What he does with these press conferences and the off-the-cuff sports references and various things, that's just appealing to the ignorant, and that's fine. All the presidents do that. What we should be far more worried about is the ramifications not of the executive order stopping participation of transgender athletes in sports. We should be far more worried about things that he's doing economically, things that are happening within
So let's talk about
Can we not be worried about both, though? Hold on a second. Because
I don't have the bandwidth.
You have to pick and choose?
But that's...
I have to.
So that's the problem, though, right? Because if you are running a... for all intents and purposes, sort of fascist version of the American government, otherizing groups of people is what helps you. It's what helps you keep that pulpit. And by creating a boogeyman, the percentage of people in America who think that 25% of our population is full of trans folks because of the fear mongering that's been done by this administration and its cronies are part of why you have people so dug in on that side of the aisle, is because they've created boogeymen out of nowhere. And by the way, if this population is as small as it is, which it is, we should still be supporting them.
So look, I think there's the reason why it's been really hard to talk about the trans debate in the context that David is trying to get us to is because it is a bit of a nuanced thing. We're talking about a tiny population of people, and therefore, if it's just going to be a tiny population of people, less than 10 college athletes, why are we prioritizing them and losing an 80-20 issue, as they say? And what I'm here to remind everybody is that the point of rights in this country is not that it's a popularity contest, it's what is right or wrong. And at the same time, David, I want to acknowledge when it comes to the terror alert scale of how worried we should be about anything, because it's a relatively small population, what's happening, say, to U.S. aid is something that, yes, we should also make room for if we're going to power rank the actual levels of concern, while also noting briefly, that USAID is also 0.2% of the budget, right? So another population.
The impact it's having worldwide, the diplomatic impact it's having, the fact that no one's talking about this or no one's, whether we're a sports show or not, if you're not paying attention to what is happening with the USAID and the fact that it's disappearing, then you're not paying attention. So.
It's as you're saying. You got to pick and choose what you want to
But there's a through line here, Roy, right? Here we have in USAID and the trans population of athletes, two groups that are relatively very small.
I don't agree with your premise.
But budgetarily, USAID is 0.2%.
The impact of USAID is so much larger than the impact of banning transgender participation in athletics. It's not even. How can you mention them in the same sentence?
I'm mentioning them in the same sentence because what we're doing here is forcing nuance into a false binary. It's not either or. What we're saying is USAID, 0.2% of the budget, also massively impactful for every foreign relationship we have, for all of these people who got into it for the right reasons.
For everybody with AIDS, everybody with HIV around the world.
Who's affected by disease globally, it is a massive catastrophe. I am also saying that even though there are less than 0.02% fewer
twice.
I think we'll agree to disagree. Percent of college athletes who are trans, also worth considering. Right?
It was obvious back in whatever year that was, 2018, 2017, with the bathroom bill in North Carolina. It was sort of a test there. It's like, hey, my base, we can agree men should go to men's rooms and women should go to women's rooms, right? Ladies' rooms, right? And yeah, but then that one shockingly sort of failed for them. So then the new one was, boys should play boy sports, girls should play girl sports, let's protect our kids. And that one just hit like, you know what? And so it's just been obvious what's been happening. It just happens that they have currently succeeded.
Do you see a problem? I mean, I don't know that we should debate the concept of, I'd rather talk about the executive order and talk about the reason why he's doing that and how that is manifesting itself in issues that are far more impactful to way more people. So I just take umbrage with you saying that it's like USAID 0.02%. Therefore, we have to consider it in the same.
But this is why it's in the same breath right now. It's because what Donald Trump and what this administration is doing all of the time is celebrating that they are defeating the bullies. The bullies in this case are trans athletes, and they're the workers trying to get people AIDS medication, who are actually a tiny percentage of the population he's trying to, David, it's a numeracy
What part
thing.
of budget is Gaza? I mean, are you going to start breaking down the defense budget and what we've done?
I'm walking you to a place of agreement. I'm walking you to a place of agreement, which is, well, God.
Oh, guys, the NBA trade deadline, it never stops. This according to Bobby Marks of ESPN and Tim Bontemps. The Washington Wizards are acquiring Reggie Jackson and a first-round pick from the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for 4 second-round picks and Jared Butler. Mike Scotto of Hoops Hype also is reporting.
A natural segue from DC politics to DC basketball. Well done, Amin.
I mean, Reggie Jackson. That gives them a good bet. You know, the Wizards have won 3 games in a row. That's their season high in win streak.
They said you said they're the worst team.
Worst team ever.
Them, they were my pick of the day. Last night was the Nets over the Wizards, coming off the win over the Rockets.
Yep.
Russell, 2 threes, back-to-back. Great game. You then get to play the Wizards, get some momentum.
Mm-hmm.
They're only given 1.5 under the DraftKings line as of yesterday morning.
They got smoked.
They got smoked.
They got smoked.
The Wizards smoked them.
Yeah, and guess what that means?
What does it mean?
The Brooklyn Nets are the worst team in the NBA now.
Wait, you said the Wizards are the worst team.
No.
Whoever loses to the Wizards.
Oh, now
it's the opposite of a championship belt.
Whoever loses to the Wizards is the worst team.
Who are
in
the
NBA.
3 teams they've beaten?
Well,
is it the latest loss that becomes the worst
The
team?
latest loss, always.
So now the second to last loss, they're off the hook.
You're off the hook, exactly.
That's so awesome.
Because the Brooklyn Nets have taken the mantle as the worst team in the NBA. Look, for a little bit there, the Denver Nuggets were the worst team in the NBA. That was when they lost when Nikola Jokic had 56 points.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Nikola Jokic had 56 points, and they still lost to the Wizards.
I don't agree that you can keep changing your mind every day who the worst team is.
It's very easy. If you lose to the Wizards, you are the worst team in the NBA. Absolutely. So Minnesota's like, whew, thank God, we're off the hook.
The Nets were a nightmare last night.
That was awful. But yeah, 4 second-round picks.
4 second-rounders. The second-rounder is a fun thing to me.
My favorite part of all of these deals, when they said they're sending a pick, they're sending 2 seconds for. I don't know if this is a thing that happens in any other sport. But in the NBA, it's so much fine print. So, for instance, the pick that they're sending Washington is the less favorable of Oklahoma City, Houston, if between 5 and 30, and the Clippers in 2026.
I never read those. I just ignore anything like that when they talk about pick swaps.
Yeah. That used to be my job, Izzy. I had to write on a whiteboard where all the picks were going.
How much does that pay?
Wait, why?
Not much.
Was your handwriting the best of anyone in your position?
No, because I was the one who knew.
Wait, couldn't you have told someone who had better handwriting?
No.
Does anybody notice?
Our front office wasn't that big, David. Like, we didn't have like a calligraphy guy.
I want to
28 grand a year.
I want to unite. I want to cross the streams
28.
here, right? So Elon Musk is sending all of these people, these programmers, in to get into the budgetary software. What does the budgetary software of a pro sports team look like?
Well,
so far it's Amin. So far, Amin
On a
is the
whiteboard?
budgetary software.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's got software for accounts payable and accounts receivable, and you've got spreadsheets and a lot of Excel. There's a lot of Excel. There's a lot of people doing
Microsoft Access with database
formulas so they can keep track of expenses, like of your show, and they can then calculate like how much a show is, and then you have revenue associated with it. It's a whole Megillah. So, and then it generates books. Plus, there's budgets. So every there's about 250 budget departments.
But is there a guy who's just yelling at some underlings, and the underlings are the people actually
12.
keeping track of everything?
I'd say 12 people are yelling and 15 people are being yelled at. It's about a 1-to-1.
What a massive front office you were.
Everybody gets an underling? The underling
so
to
you
overseer
can't be-
ratio at this college is
It's
fantastic.
funny you say that. You can't be an hourly employee and have direct reports. That's exempt versus non-exempt. We can talk about that at any
Does
other
anybody
time.
else? Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. Does anybody else get excited when Amin's like New York accent slightly comes out?
It's the best.
Like when he says "wool," and I'm like, that guy's cooler than he's letting on. Because the New York accent, I think, is the coolest of all the accents.
I don't think I have an accent.
No, just it comes out just a little bit at a time.
Usually when I've been drinking.
There's nothing
You've been
cooler
drinking this
than your
morning?
Stephen A. Smith imitation. That to me is the coolest
ultimate New
voice
York
you have.
accent.
The coolest voice is always going to be a 44. That's the coolest voice. You don't think that's a cool voice? Hey,
It is good.
But when you have a New York accent, you just get away with saying things that other people
Sasha Malia think.
that
Michelle
other
definitely thinks.
people can't get away with. All right? You say
Example.
with a New York accent, you're mad corny for that. You say that with a New York accent, you sound cool as hell. I can't do the New York accent. You sound cool as hell. You're mad. Say that the way I just said it, and you sound like an idiot. You're mad corny for that, Pablo.
It's funny because
Sir, I grew up in New York and I don't have that accent, so I felt that actually hypothetically and realistically.
Right? It's also weird that people just talk different.
I feel like the Southern accent is the coolest accent, right? Like
drawl.
Yeah, because it always. Or maybe I'm just always thinking of that Seinfeld episode where the Astros come up to New York and George is entertaining them, and then after they leave, he starts talking like them, calling them bastards and sons of bitches and stuff like that. And what's my man named? His boss at the Yankees walks by in the hallway and thinks George is blowing the deal by calling them bastards. You tell those bastards when I get down to Houston, I'm going to kick their ass or whatever. And instead, it's a language of kind of love.
But it's not cooler. Like,
oh,
you can't be a hip-hop artist with, like, a Southern accent. But, like, with a New York accent.
Oh, come on. The Southern accent is all it's at now.
To me, the
all
New York
big artists are Southern.
The New York accent test to me is around water.
What's that? Water?
Is it water?
Water.
Not
It's
water.
really
Long Island.
Yeah, that's
Long Island.
You went a little too far east.
Too far
on
east.
495.
It's true.
I don't think of the Long Island accent as a desirable accent. Right?
People do not want to have that.
They actually,
and it's very easy to tell. It's as easy as the Southern drawl is the accent off the LIE.
The Southern drawl has it's easy going. You can't rush me, right? Well, I'll tell you what. You get that going. It's like, oh, just get to the point. Like, no, I'll get to the point at my pace.
There was a study recently that I wanted to cite here.
About accents?
Yeah, it was about British accents and how we consider, of course, all of them, any British accent to be of a certain, stature, right?
The standard British accent and the posh British accent,
well,
yes.
this is the article.
We're not talking about Geordies and Manx and stuff like that.
They sound more important.
I would say that to the untrained American ear, any British accent conveys a sophistication.
I would tell you right now, to the untrained American, they've never heard of a Geordie.
What is a Geordie? What is that?
Geordie is people from like Newcastle. You could look this up. It's a show called Geordie Shore. It was their version of Jersey Shore. You cannot understand a word they're saying. There's no way that sounds sophisticated. Oh, well, that's what it sounds like.
That's a good one. You need to put that one in the Rolodex.
Yeah. I'm looking at the differences, the socioeconomic connotations of different British accents, and Amin is right. This is a thing.
Geordies?
Yeah. Look, there was a study that tested how these things sound.
Right.
And I'm gonna get to it in a certain filibuster.
In the next episode,
take your time.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan. It is Big Game Week, and I've got just the thing to make your big game time a Miller time. From fireside conversations to football Sundays, winter means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. A new year is a perfect time for friends, family, and great tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, and when you're hosting your ultimate game day party, why don't you bring out a beautiful silver platter of that amazing white can and know you will make everybody there happy, because Miller Lite is the original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.